you know how to spend your money better than the government does. That's why we want to keep your taxes as low as possible. We want to find ways to stimulate business because a strong economy solves a lot of problems. People that have jobs aren't in poverty. People that have good paying jobs can pay their mortgages. Those are real, true conservative principles. But for me, my personal platform is, our democracy is in trouble. I've been a member of Parliament. I have witnessed in all parties the degree of control that is exercised by leaders' offices and whips' offices. I was part of a small group of MPs that met secretly for 1.5 years in order to draft the Reform Act that Michael Chong put forward to strengthen individual members of Parliament and take those powers away from the leaders' offices. Why? Because when all the power is concentrated in the leader's office, your member of Parliament cannot represent you. They can be removed from committees. They can be disciplined. And it's not okay. One of the first pieces of legislation I would introduce as your member of Parliament, if I got a private member's bill, is to reform committees so members of Parliament cannot be removed from committees at the whim of leaders' offices. So we can actually study legislation and do the work for our constituents. And locally, I want to hold town hall meetings every 4 months. Everyone's invited. And I want to set up citizens advisory groups that I meet with every 3 months to talk about the issues that are the most important to the residents of Dufferin-Caledon, so I can take those issues to Ottawa. It's a bottom-up exercise, not a top-down exercise, and that's why I'm running. Thank you very much.
Hello and good evening, everyone. You keep me in check. She gives me a sign every time I'm lying. Stefan Wies is my name, born and raised in Germany. We immigrated to Canada almost 30 years ago. As a family of 4, 2 daughters. One daughter might not be completely unknown in this room. Her name is Laura Campbell. She was your provincial candidate for the Greens. And she is my motivator. Really, are we feeding off each other? It's hard to say because over the years when the kids went to school, we talked politics on dinner table all the time. So we are a family of engaged people. I used to be active in politics, by the way, back in Germany. My first canvassing was the German federal election, 1972. So I'm clearly the most experienced canvasser. Watch out. And then, life happens. You graduate from university, find a wonderful wife, get married, children, career, coming to Canada, where I became an entrepreneur. So I'm an entrepreneur. I currently own a small business employing 34 people, and I immensely enjoy it. And people ask me, why are you doing this? You have a great company, you are 3 times in a row listed fastest growing companies in Canada, you have an amazing business, why are you doing this? Why am I doing this? I have grandchildren. Many things came together. It dawned on me, it clicked, we cannot continue our lives, how we are, who we are, our society needs to be fixed. We can only fix the planet, by the way, if we fix society first. So it came on me, said after a great life, and thanks for initiating O Canada. I'm grateful to be living in the greatest country of the world, and I want to make sure it remains the greatest country in the world. Thank you very much.
Now we're going to speak to the different responsibilities on a different level of government and how you see that distinction and what you feel as a federal candidate you can do. And I think maybe we'll start with Michelle, move the same direction, and then go back to Allison so she's not put on the spot twice.
And timing on that is 3?
3, yeah.
Yeah, cool. I'm good. Right.
Okay. Together we win. This isn't just my campaign slogan, it's something that is a core belief of mine. Because one thing that frustrates me is how, especially nowadays in politics, people are pitted against one another. Even running in this election, I've been shocked at the amount of misinformation and disinformation is thrown around out there. A little louder? Sorry about that. And, you know, when I go to somebody's door and they cite me something that they've heard on an ad and it's completely false, it's completely erroneous, it really makes me concerned for our democracy and for our ability to work together. One thing that I found is that people are disillusioned, and they're disillusioned because they see all these talking heads on TV tearing one another down, screaming at one another. It's all very negative. So that's why from the beginning I've been running on a platform of positive politics. Because to me it doesn't matter where we are on the political spectrum, it matters that we have common values. It matters that we have good ideas, and it matters that we work together. Nothing frustrates me more than when the federal government points at the province points at the feds, somebody points at the municipality, everybody's pointing fingers and punting the ball, and nobody's working together to do what we need to do for us, the taxpayers, for the good of our community. So as your MP, I would be somebody who would be working with all levels of government, no matter who is in that position, because we need to get things through for our riding here. The other thing is that politics matters. You know, politics is a very real thing. When people get disillusioned and they get disengaged, they're losing the fact that what's happening in Ottawa, decisions that are being made, actually affect our lives here in Dufferin-Caledon. You know, our lives on the ground, how we go about things. So one of the most rewarding things that I've done in the last number of years is I helped settle a Syrian refugee family. And when it came to my nomination meeting, I had Islam come and speak. Because when she talked about her story of being in Syria, being in a family get-together, and then watching a bomb come and drop right down on the head of her 5-year-old son, killing him instantly. When she talked about being in a hospital for 8 months, she and her son both, with planes going overhead trying to bomb the hospital, and then talked about how grateful she was to come to Canada, how amazed she is with the quality of her education and the safety. That was because a government policy, a liberal government policy, was made to open the doors to 25,000 Syrian refugees, literally saving their lives. Politics makes a difference, and we all need to work together for the good of our communities and for the good of people.
So a vote for Chad Ransom with the People's Party of Canada is going to be a vote so you guys know who to hold accountable. Just like the moderator said, sometimes you get questions about who's responsible at a municipal level, who's responsible at a provincial level. Right now it seems like the waters are kind of muddled. What we're looking to do is set out clear, concise responsibilities for your governments. So whenever you're going to vote, you know exactly what you're voting for and exactly what they're responsible for. With the municipals, I do believe that the quality of life is very, very important to them. They're in charge of your cleaning of your snow, first responders, sanitation, right? These are the people that are hands-on and actually get to see the voters every single day. Whenever it comes to provincial, obviously healthcare, education is something that you vote for, and some social issues. And I say some social issues because with everything there is going to be a little bit of cooperation between the two. And on the federal level, it's up to us to make sure that you guys feel safe, that the laws are passed to make sure that everyone is respected, that good business deals are made so everyone can be profitable. And it's all about communication. The federal level is at the top, and I agree with Kyle. It's about the communication from the bottom up. I've ran into a lot of different people that have been a little disconnected with the regular voters nowadays. And it's not fair. It's not fair to you guys. And I think the voters are kind of tired of it. So what I'm looking to do is to make sure that there's a nice stream of communication, that your voices are heard in Ottawa, and with any help that they need at any sort of level, is just to be there. As you've seen today, I'm a doer. Whenever I see something that needs fixed, I just start going ahead and fixing it. Thank you.
First of all, I just want to say, all of the candidates here, we've all all taken the Better Ballot Pledge in order to bring civility back to politics. I don't know of any other riding in the country where all the candidates in a riding have taken it. So I'm really proud to be running with this group of people because we all want to talk about our positive vision for this country and our positive vision for Dufferin-Caledon. When we look at what the difference between federal, provincial, and municipal is, people are constantly confused. The Constitution sets out what the framework of each government is responsible for. But like Chad said, we are blending these lines in so many ways. You know, for example, the federal government is now funding infrastructure. Now, people say, well, of course they fund infrastructure. Well, municipalities are creatures of provincial statute. The federal government transfers money to the provinces, the province transfers money to municipalities. That's how it's traditionally worked. We're now in a new era where the federal government will actually start to partner with provinces and municipalities on projects. What's important about that? What's important is a couple of things. You've got to make sure if you're the member of parliament, you are in touch with your municipalities, with your reeves, with your mayors, with your councillors, to make sure you know what their priorities are. Because when the federal government is going to choose which projects to partner with, they're going to be looking to your local representative. What are they bringing? What are the projects that matter to the people of Dufferin-Caledon? So again, part of my personal platform that I've laid out is to meet formally at least once a year with all of the mayors within Dufferin-Caledon so that I can find out what those priorities are and take those back to Ottawa. I don't think it's my job to decide whether or not there should be a 416 bypass going through Caledon. That's a provincial and that's a municipal decision. And you elected people to make those choices. I would respect those choices. If they decide that that's the highway they want built, what I would then say is my job is to go to Ottawa and make sure we have funding for that project. So those are some of the examples. With respect to healthcare, healthcare is also a provincial jurisdiction matter. But the federal government transfers money to the provinces through the Canada Health Transfer. So it's important that you're going to make sure that we are maintaining that health transfer. As part of our platform in the Conservative Party, we're going to maintain that transfer at 3%, which is the amount that's been prescribed in the last meeting between the ministers and the government to set what the health transfer is going to be. So, what else is important to know? The federal government is the one that's going to determine the criminal code. We all want our communities to be safe. We all want to make sure that we feel safe in our homes. So in my perspective, we need someone who understands the criminal code, be able to make sure that the voices of Dufferin-Caledon is heard. My background was, I was a lawyer for 12 years, I don't practice anymore, and I served on the Justice Committee for 4 years. And I know these are issues that are going to be very important for the resident of Dufferin-Caledon. Thank you very much.
Well, it is really in your hands. You can vote for Stefan Wiesen this time around, and I get elected. In 3 years, you vote for Laura Campbell, she gets elected provincially, and we handle all politics at this famous dinner table. It's super easy. However, it will not be easy. And it goes to the heart of a green candidate when we are talking about what we call in our language the constant bickering. I quickly alluded to the issue that we have these people problems which we need to solve before we solve the planet's problems. The bickering, the constant. I mean, government A comes in and government B comes in a year later and does what this government has, etc., etc. Sometimes they're extremely reasonable legislative suggestions in the House. And then one side of the House claps like crazy. It's something totally reasonable which will also pass. But no, we are the opposition. We could never applaud to the government. We are in a crisis. We are in a climate crisis. We are ahead of a climate disaster. Do we have time to bicker about little things like, I don't know what it is, you can figure something out in your own head. We have to put all hands on deck. That's what we Greens are proposing. All hands on deck. And that means across the party lines and also across all levels of government. Your idea is excellent to have this formal meeting twice a year. I actually had the same idea, I'm not making this up, and I would also invite the provincial representatives. But absolutely, it's good to see that we have here genuine candidates. I mean, this is democracy at work. You look in all our eyes, you really see, are we genuine or are we just poker players where strategists have told us what to say? I make my strategist, I don't have one, but if I had a strategist, I would make that strategist crazy. So, clearly, we need all hands on deck, on all levels of government and across party lines, to solve the critical issue that our society is facing. Have you heard of artificial intelligence? Anybody an idea of artificial intelligence? Yeah, a few. Yeah, thank you. 2 in the room have heard of artificial intelligence. It is a technical revolution. It's called the 4th industrial revolution. We thought that service jobs can take the slack from manufacturing jobs we are losing. Bad news. Service jobs can be taken over by computers. Whether these computers are located in Canada or somewhere in Asia plays no role. So we need to be prepared to challenge our future. That only goes with a multi-partisan approach, when people go all hands on deck. And yes, let's have the competition of ideas, no question. The Green Party doesn't have the one-size-fits-all solution, but let's work with all levels of government, all parties, all reasonable citizens to tackle the problems that are ahead of us. Thank you.